we have seen the microcontroller architecture. And in the microcontroller architecture, we have seen all the features of microcontroller with the various ports and various tools which are available with the microcontroller, as well as the memory which is inbuilt in the microcontroller. So here we have moved further with the program counter, then data pointer. We have seen the accumulator B register and so on. Also, we have seen the PSW register. So in the PSW register, there are this register is used to indicate the different results of the ALU processing. So if in the ALU processing, if suppose the carry is generated, that will get indicated by the carry bit. Similarly, if the carry is generated in the lower four bits or in the lower nipple, then the auxiliary carry will get generated. Then RS0 and RS1, these two bits are used for the bank selection. Then the overflow bit, which shows if the overflow occurs in the result, and the parity bits, which will show whether the parity is even parity or odd parity. Okay. Also, we have seen the RS0 and RS1 status. So if these two bits are 00, register bank 0 will get selected. Then 01, bank 1 will get selected. 10, bank 2 will get selected, and if the bits are 11, then bank 3 will get selected. Now we will move towards the memory organization of microcontroller. So in the memory organization, we have seen for microcontroller there are two memories. One is called as program memory, and another one is data memory. So data memory is used to store the data, and the program memory is used to store the program of the microcontroller, which is getting executed by the particular microcontroller. Okay. So in this memory, here first we will see the memory allocation of the data memory, or it is also called as RAM. So in this RAM, we can see as in the PSW registers, we have seen two bits RS0 and RS1 for bank selection. So these banks are available from 00 to 00 to 1FH. Okay. So for every bank, there are 8 bits or 8 registers which are available in each bank. Okay. Starting from R0 to R7. Then for bank 1, 08 to 0F. Then bank 2, 10 to 17, and for bank 3, 18 to 1F. Okay. So these 4 banks are available here, where every register can be accessed either by setting a specific bank in the PSW register, or even if we want any another register from different bank, that can be accessed indirectly by pointing the address location of this bank. So for every memory, always keep in mind that memory is represented by a specific address. So if suppose this is the 128-bit memory, then this 128-bit memory is represented starting from 00 to 7F. So from this 00, it is not actually the data which is available in the memory, but it is the location which is pointed by a specific address. So for bank 0, here the locations will be 00 to 07. So what does it mean? If suppose we want the register R0, then the address of this register R0 will be 00. The address of R1 will be 01. Address of R2 will be 02 up to 07. Similarly, for bank 1, here the address will start from 08 to 0F. Here the names of the registers are same for every bank. That means for our first bank, bank 0, the registers are R0 to R7. Similarly, for bank 1 also the registers are R0 to R7. For bank 2 again R0 to R7, and for bank 3 again R0 to R7. So every bank will have the same register names R0 to R7, and these are used to store the data or during the execution of any program or during the processing. After that, here from 20 to 2F, here it has a bit addressable RAM. So what does it mean? Here every address location, let's say suppose 20 is the address location of one, so 20 will be the address location of this RAM. Then from this 20, a specific bit can also be programmed or can also be modified. So here, let's say if suppose we take the example, if we have one register, here this register is divided into 8 bits. like this. I will just draw 1, 2, or 3. Okay. So similarly, all the 8 bits are represented in that specific location. Okay. Why? Because I have already said that every memory is represented in terms of capacity and word size. So we have taken the example of xk by y, where x is called as the capacity of memory and y is called as word size of memory. That means at every location, how much bits can be stored, that is represented by word size. Similarly here in this data memory, here the word size is 8. That means here at every location, here we can store 8 bits. So in bit addressable location, here every bit can be changed. Let's say here the bit is 1. Then here the bit is 0. Here the bit is 0. Then here the bit is 1, and so on. So for every location here, or every bit location is having either 0 or 1. So in bit addressable location or in bit addressable memory, any one location here can be changed. So let's say here this location, if suppose the data is 0, that will get changed to 1. Okay. So the user or the programmer can make the changes on every bit of that specific location. So it is called as bit addressable memory. Okay. Are you getting? Hello everyone. अरे जागे आहात का? Okay. So this will be the bit addressable RAM from 20 to 2F. Okay. So after that, the next from 30 onwards up to 7F, it is called as scratch pad RAM. So this scratch pad RAM, it is nothing but a simple general purpose memory where we can either store any data or even we can store the program also. But normally the data is stored from 30 to 7F. So from R0 to R3, so R00 to 1F, whatever the locations are available, these are the specified locations of the registers. Then 20 to 2F, it is the specified location for bit addressable memory. And 30 to 7F, again, this is for a scratch pad or general purpose memory which is used in the microcontroller. Okay. The next one is the stack. Now, in the architecture, we have seen one register which is called as stack pointer, which holds the address of stack top. Okay. And what is stack? Stack area, it is nothing but the reserved portion of the memory which is used by the microcontroller. So this stack is available from 07 onwards. So here we can see a stack. So this stack is available from 07 onwards, or from starting from 08 to 0F. So this is the location of stack which is available in the data memory. So this is the default location provided by the microcontroller. If suppose the programmer wants to change that location, the programmer needs to specify or define a stack with a specific address, and then the programmer can swap or can change the stack. So when the microcontroller gets resetted, at that time what happens? Here the program counter address will be 00. That means it will show the initial location of the memory. Then stack pointer will hold the address 07. All the registers will be, or the register bank by default will be selected as bank 0 of the program. Okay, everyone getting it? So if suppose programmer wants to change the stack, then the programmer can make the changes in the stack pointer by specifying the new address location of stack, and then programmer can switch or modify the stack location. But by default, the stack location will be, or the stack area will be from 08 to 0F. Okay. The next one is also we have seen some special function registers which are available into the microcontroller architecture, in which the first special function register is accumulator, which holds the address of the ALU. ALU, it is nothing but the arithmetic and logical unit which processes the data, or it will make the mathematical calculation. Either it may be the arithmetic calculation or it may be the logical calculation. So that will be done by the ALU, and the result of that ALU will get stored into the accumulator. And B is one more register which is used to store the results for the operations such as multiplication and division. So this A and B, these are two special function registers which are used for storing the result. DPH and DPL, these are the 8-bit registers of the data pointer, where DPL represents the lower 8 bits and DPH represents the higher 8 bits of data pointer. So this data pointer, it is nothing but the combination of these two registers. The next one is IE and IP. These are for interrupts register, or these special function registers we are used for an interrupt. So to enable a specific interrupt or to enable the interrupts, the IE register is used and register is used to set the priority of interrupt. What does it mean? If suppose any two interrupts are coming simultaneously, then to which interrupt the microcontroller will serve first and to which it will serve later, that will be defined by the priority assigned to that specific interrupt. And this priority assignment is done by the register IP. Okay. Then P0 to P3, these are IO port latches, okay, through which the data will be either transferred from microcontroller to the other peripherals or memory, or will be accessed from other peripherals and memory to the microcontroller. Okay. Then PCON is power control register and SCON is serial port control registers. So these two registers are used for serial communication, where SCON register or the bits of the SCON register will specify the different baud rates of the data, or the baud rate by which the communication will take place. And one more register is available for serial communication. It is SBUF, that is serial port data buffer. What does it mean here? Whatever the data which is transferred serially from microcontroller to the other device or from other device to the microcontroller, that data will first get loaded into the SBuffer. So if microcontroller wants to transfer the data first from the memory or from that specific location, that the data will be transferred into the serial port data buffer, and from serial port data buffer, the data will be transferred to the peripheral. Similarly, when the data is received by the microcontroller, first the data will get received into the SBuffer, and when SBuffer is filled, then that data will be transferred either into the memory or to the specific peripheral. Then the PSW, is program status word register. Already we have seen the working of PSW. So it indicates the different flag status during the after the completion of ALU, or after the completion of any operation or manipulation which is taken place into the ALU. Stack pointer, it holds the address of the stack top. Then TMOD and TCON, these two registers are used for timer control or timer and counter control mode. Okay. So TMOD will select the mode of operation of timer, either it is timer or counter, and TCON is the register which is used for setting that particular timer counter module as a timer or counter. Okay. And whatever the data required or necessary for this timer and counter unit, that data will be stored in the TL0, TS0, TL1 and TH1 register. So if it is timer 0, then the data will be stored in the TL0 and TS0. If the data or if timer 1 is in use, then the data will get stored into the TL1 and TH1. So this is the data is nothing but the count which is required or which is necessary to transfer or to load into that registers. So what is the count and how this count is selected? We will see it when we study about the timers. Okay. So all these are the special function registers which are available into the microcontroller. Everyone is getting it? Are there any queries? Okay. Can we move further? Okay, now we will move towards the I/O programming. Already we have seen that for microcontroller there are 4 ports: port 0, port 1, port 2, and port 3. where port 0 and port 2, these are used for accessing the memory or also, or if we want to interface external memory to the port, then that will get access to the or interfaced with port 0 and port 2, where port 2 holds the higher order address and port 0 holds the lower order address line. Okay. Now during the introduction part, we have seen that for interfacing any memory to the microcontroller, we require to interface with address line and data lines. Now, if these address lines and data lines are separate, then again 8 more pins are required to interface with the microcontroller. So to reduce the pins, what has been done? Here multiplexed address data lines are used. So what does it mean? The same lines will work as address at the same time. The same line can work as the data. Okay. And here the demultiplexing of this address and data lines is made while accessing the memory. Now we'll see how this demultiplexing will take place. So let's say we have the microcontroller 8051. So this microcontroller is interfaced with one memory. Now, just a minute, I'll write here 8051. And here, this is any one memory. Let's say it is 1K by 8 or whatever it may be, or even we can interface 64K by 8 also. Now, to interface this microcontroller to the memory, here we have port 0 and port 2. So this port 2 holds the higher order address and port 0 holds the lower order address. Okay. And this port 0 is first connected to the ALU. What is the function of ALU? 74LS373 latch. And what is the function of this 74LS373? Already in the last lecture I have told you. The 74LS373, it is a latch which holds the data, and when that latch is getting enabled by ALE pin, then that input will get shifted towards the output. Okay. So here first, this port 0 is interfaced or connected with the 74LS373 latch. Okay. Then the output of this latch is connected to the memory. Okay. So here, now onwards, from the output of latch, whatever the lines are coming, these lines are called as the address lines. Similarly, here, before transferring that data, again the same latch is used here. Sorry, same lines are used here as latch before transferring it to the input of latch, and directly it is connected to the sorry. So directly it is connected to the memory. Now I have shown you here the arrow mark, but actually it is the bidirectional lines. Okay. So here what happens, when the microcontroller wants to read the data from memory, then first microcontroller needs to access the specific address location. Okay. That means here the microcontroller needs to specify the address location where the data is available. So here microcontroller will first send the data to the port. First send data to the port. So what the port will do? Port will shift the data to the input of a latch, and when this latch will get enabled, when it is provided with the ALE, or when this enable pin is high. So this is the ALE pin. This will be the ALE. So when this ALE goes high, at that time, whatever the input available at this port side, that will get shifted towards this address lines. Okay, are you getting? When the microcontroller wants to access the data from this memory, external memory, first what happens? The microcontroller needs to specify the address location of that memory. Okay, So this address location will get specified or will get shifted to the port 0. So when the ALE goes high, whatever the input which is available at this port lines, that will get shifted or latched towards the output side of latch. Okay, and it will specify the address location. So the output from the latch will be called as the address. Now, when the address is transferred to the latch, then these lines before the latch or in between the port 0 pin to the latch, these lines goes into the high impedance state. Now, if suppose microcontroller wants to read the data from memory, after specifying the address, directly the data will be available from memory location on this line. So this data will be available here. And when the read bar signal goes low at that time, this data will be taken or accessed by the microcontroller. Okay. Similarly, if microcontroller wants to write the data, the same data, after providing the address, the data will be available to this port 0. And when the write bar signal goes low, then the data will be written in the memory. So in this way, the demultiplexing of address and data bus takes place. And for this demultiplexing, which latch is required? 74LS373. So it is nothing but a simple cupboard. When the lock is closed, whatever the data which is available outside the cupboard, that cannot be shifted into the cupboard. And when the lock is open, the user can shift the material or the data from outside the cupboard into the cupboard. Similarly, here this latch is nothing but a cupboard which will separate the address lines and data lines. Okay. So this is called as demultiplexing of address and data lines. Everyone is getting it? You may have the question on how the demultiplexing will take place. सर्वांना समजले का? जागे आहात का सगळे? I am not getting any reply. Okay, everyone got it? How the demultiplexing takes place? Okay, so from port 0, here it holds the lower 8-bit address data bus or multiplex address data bus that will get shifted demultiplexed by using 74LS373. So already in the last lecture we have seen some chips in which the first one is 74LS244 and 245. These are unidirectional and bidirectional buffers. So these are used to the ports or towards the ports. Then we have seen 74LS373, which is used for demultiplexing of address and data bus. And the next one is the 74LS138 decoder. The working of this decoder we will see when we go towards the interfacing of memory to the microcontroller. Okay, so this is called as demultiplexing of address and data bus. So port 0 holds the lower 8-bit address as the data, and the port 2 will hold the higher 8-bit address. Then port 1, it is simple input output port, or it will work as IO port, simple IO port. And one more thing, I think ALE we have seen now. Okay, then the next one is port 3. So this port 3 is used for multifunction. That means it is working as input, simple input output port, as well as it is used for some specific applications of the microcontroller or for specific functions of microcontroller. So which are the specific functions? For serial communication, RxD, TxD, the same port pins can be used. Similarly, for external interrupt, INT 0 bar and INT 1 bar. For this external interrupt also, this port pin is used. Then for timer controller also, or for timer counter also, the port 3 pins are used. And for external memory access, that means for reading the data from external memory or writing the data into the external memory, the same some pins from port 3 is also used. Okay. Now these are the different pins and the functions of the port 3 pins. So port 3.0, keep in mind here P3 means the port number 3, and with .0 specifies the first pin of port 3. Similarly, P3.1 means here it will be second pin of port 3. P3.2, that means version write operation and read operation we will see while we study about the interfacing of memory to the microcontroller. Okay. So for write operation also, are you asking about the demultiplexing? Okay, during the demultiplexing, how reading and writing takes place? Am I right? Okay, so we'll move again. We'll take the previous one, demultiplexing of this address and data bus. Now see here, while reading the data is available in the memory. Okay, so when the microcontroller transfers the address at the same time, the address is available here when the ALE goes high, and this ALE goes high for one P state only. After that, again it goes low. So whatever the data available here at this pin, that will get latched and that will not get shifted towards the output. Okay, so when the microcontroller wants to read the data from memory, when the address is transferred, it specifies the address, and whatever the data which is available in the memory, that will get transferred from these data lines, and which is available at port 0, that will be read by the microcontroller. Okay, so this is about reading. Now when the microcontroller wants to write the data into the memory, first what will happen, the microcontroller will transfer the address. When the ALE goes high, the address will get shifted to this output of slash, and it will specify the address. Now when the data is shifted or latched towards the output side, at the same after that, the microcontroller will again send the data to this port pin. Okay, are you getting? So that data will get transferred to the port pin, and when write bar signal goes low, or when the write is activated at the time, that data will get transferred to these data lines. Why? Because ALE is low, so the data will not get shifted towards the output side. The data will get shifted to these bypass lines. So this bypass, it is nothing but the data lines. Okay, so the data will transferred from port 0 to the memory, and directly it will get returned to the memory. Okay. Are you getting the Darshan? Okay, so shall we move further? Okay, so here for port 3, these port pins are working as the simple input output port as well as for a specific functions also. So port 3.0, I think I have already told you that here when we are specifying any port pin, that port pin is first specified by the port number. That means if it is port 0, that will be port 0. Port 1, it will be represented by P1. If it is port 2, represented by P2. And if it is port 3, it is represented by P3. Okay. And after that, here we can observe that here it is represented as port 3.0 or port 3.1. So what does it mean? Here the first pin of port 3, that is represented by port 3.0. Similarly, first second pin of port 3 is represented by port P 3.1 and so on. So here port 3.0 and 3.1, that is the first and second pin of port 3 are used for RxD and TXD, and the pin numbers are 10 and 11. Okay, so it is not more necessary, but keep in mind port 3.0 is also used as RxD, that means to receive the data from the external devices or from the memory. Then port 3.1 to transfer the data, then it is called as TXD. So for serial communication, these two pins are used. Then port 3.2 and 3.3, these are used for interrupt purpose or for external interrupt, that is for 3.2 for INT 0 and 3.3 for INT 1. Okay. The next one is port 3.4 and 3.5. These are used for timer operations. So external, so port 3.4 and 3.5. 3.4 is used for timer 0. 3.5 is used for timer 1. And port 3.6 and 3.7 is read bar and write bar. So when the microcontroller is interfaced with the external memory or peripheral, and if microcontroller wants to read the data, at that time what will happen? Here port 3.7 will go active load. So see here for every, so this read bar and write bar, here we can observe the lines. So when any data or any pin is represented by a slash with the pin name or bar with that pin name, it indicates that it is the active low pin. So what does it mean? When the pin goes low, then the specific function will get activated. And if there is no any specification like slash or bar, what does it mean? The pin is active high pin. Okay, everyone is getting it? So this is the multifunction port pins of port 3. Then After that, we will see the different addressing modes which are available into the microcontroller. Now, up to now, we have seen the microcontroller architecture with the different specifications, different functions of microcontroller. Okay, then the different pins, the use of pins. At the same time, we have seen the port 0 demultiplexing and how the address and data lines are interfaced to the memory. Okay. Now, are there any queries up to this, so that we can move further towards the instruction set of microcontroller? Are there any queries? Okay, good. So now we have seen the microcontroller is having the different instructions, and it has sorry. Sorry. So microcontroller is having CISC architecture or CISC instruction architecture. What does it mean? Here, the microcontroller is having different instructions for different applications or different processing. So it has a complex instruction set with more number of instructions or large number of instructions which are available into the microcontroller. And these instructions are used for specific application or specific addressing. Okay, and this addressing is divided into 5 groups. Okay, and the first one is these 5 groups are immediate addressing, register addressing, direct addressing, register indirect addressing, and index addressing. So what does it mean? Suppose I will give an example. When we are taking the lectures into the classroom, so in that case, here the presenter and the audience are in front of each other, and whatever the presentation takes place, that presentation will be in the direct mode. That means the presenter is presenting in front of the audience. Okay, so here the presenter is addressing directly to the audience. Currently, now what we are doing, we are taking online session. So here what happens, the presenter is not in front of the students, right? Similarly, the students are not in front of the. We have one media through which we are communicating with each other. Okay. So here this media is called as indirect addressing. So similarly, when the microcontroller wants to access the data from the registers or from memory or from peripherals, the microcontroller needs the different instructions, and these instructions are specified into different addressing modes. Okay. So first addressing mode is immediate addressing mode. That means here whatever the data is available, that data will get transferred to the register or to the memory location immediately, or the new data will get transferred from to the register or to the memory. So that data is not available into the controller, but that will get new data will get shifted to that particular register or memory. So such type of addressing is called as immediate addressing. Okay. The next one is register addressing. So here what happens, in this register addressing, here the data transfer will take place from register to the register. Okay. The third one is direct addressing. So here in the direct addressing, from whom the data will get transferred and to whom the data will get transferred, that will be specified in the instruction itself. Okay. So here the direct location of the memory or directly the register is specified in the instruction itself. So that's why it is called as direct addressing mode. Okay. The next one is register indirect addressing. So here what happens? Here, whatever the data is getting transferred from memory to the register or from register to the memory, that data transfer will take place through the pointer. So here, not the directly memory location is specified or not directly the register is specified, but the pointer is used to where the data needs to be transferred. So it is called as indirect addressing. And the next one is indexed addressing. So this indexed addressing is having some special instructions which are used to access the external memory, either it may be the program memory or data memory, and some special functions where not any register or not any memory is specified, but how the data transfer needs to be takes place, that will be specified in the instruction itself. So all the complete instruction set of microcontroller is divided into these 5 addressing modes. First one is in the immediate addressing, second one is register addressing, third one is direct addressing, fourth one is register indirect addressing, and the last one is index addressing mode. Okay, so we'll see how this addressing modes are working, how the instructions are separated into this addressing modes afterwards when we start with the instruction set of microcontroller. Okay, so everyone is getting it. सर्वांना समजले का? Okay, so today we'll